Okay, we are getting ready for a brand new road trip with Rachel. I am so excited. I'm headed out on a road trip with my younger sister. We are headed to Virginia. We're going to be checking out Colonial Williamsburg, and there are a few other places that we're going to try and go. I have personally never seen the ocean, and we're going to be really close, so I'm hoping that that ends up being on our list of to-dos, but some of it just depends on the other things that we're going to be doing. So from time to time, I'm going to be hopping on and showing you a few of the adventures that we are going to be on. My sister doesn't like to be on the video, so you probably won't see much of her, maybe an occasional cameo, but otherwise, this is going to be so much fun. Last year we drove into Kentucky together, and this year we are headed farther east. It's going to be so much fun. Maybe even we'll get to check out Chesapeake Bay, but we're going to be checking out a ton of historical sites, so come along with me for the adventure. Alright, so we are in West Virginia right now. We made it through Ohio pretty quickly. We're just kind of on the outskirts now on the eastern side of Charleston, West Virginia. It's a cute city that's nestled among like all these mountains that are covered in such pretty greenery, but the town itself really wasn't all that impressive. I guess I like being originally closer to the St. Louis area. My thoughts on like when I hear like, oh, this is a large city, I tend to think in terms of like St. Louis or Kansas City, things like that. And then driving through, I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. But we are continuing on, enjoying the drive, enjoying the scenery. That's really like the real draw right now. Driving through here is really the scenery. And we will keep you updated if we decide to stop anywhere and check anything out. But so far, it's a nice drive. Lots of construction. Last year, when my sister and I went on a vacation together, she was the construction driver, and this year it seems that is my lot in life. So we will check back in later. No, it's work. They know not to call. Okay, we have arrived at the hotel. Here's just a quick look at the room. It's kind of cute. It's small, just for me and my sister. But, you know, it's got all the things you need. Small coffee pot, mirror, desk to sit at, 2 beds. The pièce de résistance, though, is you've got to check out the bathroom. Because we are staying at the Roadside Historic Inn, which was affordable. And it was a good deal for where it's at. However, check out the step back in time for the bathroom. 100%. It's a step back in time. Oh, and I can't adult today, even though I drove from Dayton, Ohio. With the help from my sister, she did drive. But we have a corkscrew in our bathroom, you know, because that's the obvious place you'd put it. And our light in the bathroom is on a timer. It doesn't get much more retro than that. That's definitely historic. And before you say anything, Rachel, there's a switch right there. That'd be the fan, not the light. So, But there is a pool, so I like swimming, so I might go out there at some point here this week while we're here. But otherwise, that's just the quick room tour so you can see where we're staying at. All right, we have parked. We are in downtown Williamsburg and we are so excited. They do $1 per hour parking, which is great. Where I live at, that we definitely do not pay for parking, so it's always a new experience whenever I have to do that, but you prepaid. So we paid for 4 hours for us to go exploring, and then we can always go back and we can pay again if we want to extend our time. But breakfast was also great. We went to the Colonial Pancake House. That was awesome. And we are going to be taking pictures and we are going to be filming little clips throughout the day. Okay, so fun history lesson. We are currently walking around. It's not filming you. You're going to be in it if you're behind me. We're currently on the original campus of William and Mary College. So it has been around since the 1600s here in Virginia. William and Mary were the King and Queen of England for a short time before they handed the throne over to another family member. After Mary's father was disposed of, because that's what they do in England occasionally, back in the day. And the college has now moved to like a different location, but these are some of the original buildings that I just showed you, and they have been continuously in use in between different fires happening. The French accidentally have burned it down. There have been other accidental fires. Congregations have met in these buildings. But as a whole, it's one of our oldest colleges and it has still been in continual use. Williamsburg is quite proud of these buildings and the college, and like the town itself has sprung up around the university itself, or the College of William and Mary. And a lot of the gift shops and things like that are all like actually incorporated into the town itself. It's not like an on-campus store or bookstore. It's a place that's completely open to anybody in the town or any tourist to be able to go into. So that's a really cool thing. As someone who works for a university, I think that's really cool because it encourages people to be able to shop and see like some of the swag for your own school. But I'm gonna nab a few more pictures though while we're walking around.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's pretty. We just went to the candy shop. And yes, I got candy. I also got peanuts, because why not? That way I can at least say, like, I'm getting some protein in with it. But they had a giant peanut butter cup, so I got that, and my sister got the same thing, and she's smiling at me because we're both suckers for peanut butter cups. And then we each are trying a truffle, so that's gonna be really good. We've been walking all over, so we are headed now to get something to drink, and then we are probably going to head out and start exploring a few different places. But we shall show you where we go, and then we will show you what we shall eat for our treats. We're about to test our truffles. I got an Irish cream one. Isn't it pretty? That's really good. That's really good. The coffee's really good too. We're at Aroma. It's yummy. Crowded. And loud. But good. So naturally, the day that we're going through the colonial part of Williamsburg, it's raining. So exciting. But we both slept in really late. Well, aka I slept in really late until like 10, which is good because it means I needed it. And we have checked in with our tickets and we are now walking along, getting over to the historic site of Williamsburg. We will take you along for the journey. Okay, we're getting ready to take the tour through the governor's mansion, and the gate I just showed you is one of the entrances. And so apparently the governor of Colonial Virginia fancied himself a unicorn. Oh, this gate. I wasn't sure. She said 2 gates. So it looks as though they're leaving there. There are multiple gates here apparently to get into what is referred to as the palace or the governor's mansion. Oh, thank you. I know you did. So there is a historic Anglican church that is here in Colonial Williamsburg. It's actually still an active church. We just took a tour through it and got to enjoy seeing what the inside looked like. And of course it's going to start raining because I just put my umbrella away. Ta-da! Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's still all set up. They do take a donation for those who are wanting to go through it just to help keep it open. But they said that they have about 1,000 people who are active members, which is really impressive in all honesty, considering its size, and that they do 3 different services each week, and they're actually going to be having a concert next week. So, or tomorrow. Concert will be tomorrow. But you can see like where there are people who've been interred and meet some of the people who are in there and just talking about the church. They still have the governor's seat. The pulpit is still elevated. It's very much still what I would think was probably historically accurate for what it would have looked like back in the day. And it is the Bruton Parish Church, which it Anglican Church is the term that is used whenever we are talking about the Church of England. That's who it's associated with. But then whenever the colonies separated from Great Britain, they then changed their name and they're now known as the Episcopal Church. So they show all the differences, and like you can see where people were like buried in the floor and that there are box pews, so you could lock yourself into the pew and you like paid for them with taxes, so your names went on them so you knew where everybody sat. Apparently one of the box pews towards the very front belonged to Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington. And then you had the governor's chair, but apparently the governor has not paid his taxes in quite a while because he did not get nice pew seats in there along with the governor's chair. They just had folding chairs. So apparently You gotta keep up with your taxes, Mr. Governor. So we are back to exploring the colonial part of Williamsburg. My sister's giving me funny looks, but that's okay. We just actually went into the tailor shop and we learned all about how industry worked and that there's a difference between the tailor and the mantua, and that, because that sounds like a really fun name or like a specific people group. It's not. It just means the people who make ladies' dresses. And we learned why the tailor sits cross-legged and that it's actually better for your back, and that's been the whole reason, and that's the oldest good old boys club apparently in the world. Got to learn a ton about the tailoring. Whoa! And yep, it just went. My umbrella just went. All right, it's Thursday morning. We are actually up and moving earlier than we have been on any of the other days. We decided to go get donuts. So we found Emily's Donuts, which was only a mile from our hotel we were staying at. And the donuts look amazing. We all got different ones. Of course, they're not going to be good for me and they're probably too much sugar, but I decided to try a salted caramel donut, which looks amazing, and then a Boston cream donut. And then we still have to decide what we're going to do today. Since it's our last day here in Virginia before we get out on the road tomorrow morning, probably really early. We settled on going to historic Jamestown, so this will be fun. And then I'm making Sarah take me to some of the antique stores because she doesn't like that, but I love that.
I never agreed to that.
She hasn't agreed to it yet, but we all know that she's going to. Over here. So apparently there is historic Jamestown and there's the Jamestown settlement. Naturally we went to the wrong one, so we're headed to the correct one now.
But I can get...
The Spanish king assembles this huge navy with the express purpose of going to England and destroying the English fleet. All right? We all know what happens to the Spanish Armada. It was not only naval engagement, but they had problems with weather, they had problems with their equipment. But essentially, the Armada is destroyed. This now paves the way for the English to come to the North American continent and colonize relatively unimpeded. Now, this was about 12 years ago. Basically, we had excavated this area here and it come to about this point here. And we had uncovered 3 very large, very deep post holes. All right. We had never seen anything like this before because.
So we just went through the Archaearium. Did I say that right, Sarah? So it is the history museum that is here in historic Jamestown, and it lets you go through and you get to see a lot of the artifacts that have been found and dug up since they've been going through the archaeological sites, and it also allows you to read a lot about just the general influence that Jamestown has had on the United States as a whole and how it influenced the colonies and some of the stuff that they did. But there is what is known as the seawall, which is here too, that was built by the Army Corps of Engineers before they ever knew that there was the fort was here. They thought it was somewhere else on the island or that it had been completely washed away. And then when they found it in 1994, of course that's when they began the excavation and everything. But they ended up also in the, would they say 1800s was when they built the seawall? 19 in the 1900s they built the seawall, which has actually preserved colonial Jamestown. But here we go. Jamestown is actually on an island. So here we are, the James River. I grew up around rivers and creeks, or cricks if you're from that part of the world, but this is impressive. And I live along the Mississippi now, so truly an impressive sight. So this is the seawall that we're going to get to walk along. Okay, so this is the church in the colony. Now, obviously, this is not an original. It can't be. But this is really, really cool. Between all the benches, but it is built on the original foundations. So, as a whole, this is just really, really, really cool. Oh, they have a door that leads outside. So, we are in Williamsburg Antique Mall. And apparently it's the largest one on the East Coast. And I came by myself because I couldn't really talk Sarah into it. But we shall see what I will find. So far, a lot of Hummels. So it definitely wasn't a lie. There's a ton of Hummel. I've been through 3 aisles. Hummel is everywhere, which if you don't know, Hummel is like your grandmother's from Precious Moments. Or Mom's Willow Tree. That's what Hummel is. They're really cute. They're from like the 70s and 80s. But I did also find, I think it's called Blendo. It's like the style of the lady behind me. Just a little creepy. It's like they made like these glasses. They look like these. And this like yellowish looking one, I have a set that's currently in my apartment on display for when I have people over. But some of the glasses and stuff are nice. Some of these are Fire King, Cornyware, Pyrex, which some of them are worth quite a bit. And then of course you have Tupperware, aka, actually I do own some of those things because my mother had them when I was growing up, so they make me think of Mom. But if I find anything interesting, I'll pop back on. Alright, so we have begun the journey back into Missouri. We were up this morning at 2:30 a.m., which we're going to go through a time change. So my body and my sister's body said it was 1:30. And then within 15 minutes we were on the road. We had gotten a lot of stuff packed up yesterday, so we were on the road at 2:45 this morning. We made one stop just to fill up on gas, which was like 4 o'clock-ish, somewhere in there. And then we just got back in the car after stopping in something Springs, Sulphur Springs in West Virginia, which was only 15 minutes or so into Virginia. And now we're back on the interstate driving. Sarah is driving. I drove basically the first 4 hours, and Sarah is gonna drive the next couple of hours, and then we'll switch off. I might take a nap. But we have been, Sarah just smiled because she's like, yeah, whatever. And then we've spent the morning, the first 4 hours of this trek. It's going to be approximately 15 hours of driving that we're going to be doing today. Maybe a little more by the time we actually stop for fuel and food and that kind of stuff. But we should be good probably, I'd say probably at least until like 11 or noon or something like that before we'll stop again to switch out. But we've been listening to podcasts, and we made it through 2 episodes of a podcast where we are listening to it, pausing it throughout, and then offering our commentary and laughing hysterically at some of the stuff that gets said. I will say, laughing hysterically while you're driving extremely early in the morning through the mountains and valleys that is Western Virginia and West Virginia. While it's raining and foggy is not the best idea. Just gonna throw that out there. But if anything exciting happens, we'll update you. Okay, it is currently 6:05. It has been a long day. We still have like another hour and 15 minutes that we have to travel. I think I've driven about 9 hours. 8.5, 9 hours of the day. Sarah is on her second round of driving. I've taken 2 short naps today. My sister's taken 2 short naps today. It's been a long day. We've both agreed we're probably going to, as soon as we get to our apartments, we're both going to just unpack and shower and probably both of us just go to bed. That's probably how this is going to happen. Although my sister says she wants to see her husband for some reason. That got a chuckle out of her. So we've spent the majority of the day listening to parts of an audiobook, listening to podcasts, pausing the podcast, and then having our running commentary on what we agree or disagree with them about. Fairly entertaining with my sissy here, and we had a pretty good laugh over some of it today. Like, almost went off the road laughing. But overall, this has been a great trip. This has been the longest the two of us have ever been in a car together. And we, so far, we still have over an hour to go, but I would think it's safe to say we have survived it. And we'll probably take a couple months before we start talking about what we might want to do next year. And see if this continues to be the tradition for us two sisters. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure